Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And today we are here with the Justin Yeo, Australian in Atlanta right now. He is in the Rejuvenate online studio, and he's not the Australian in Puerto Rico right now. He's the Australian in Atlanta. He's come to see us, and we're going to talk 10 minutes of tennis. So we're going to talk not just 10 minutes of tennis, but about 10 minutes of tennis.
Absolutely.
We've been doing it a year now.
Yep.
48 episodes.
Yep.
What do we think? Are we happy with it? We like where it's going? How do you picture this?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been good to open up the mind and start sharing thoughts and ideas, giving people good tips and giving people something they haven't heard about. It's got me creative because a lot of people have asked me for a long time to start getting out all this 37 years of teaching all around the world and try to start to utilize what I've got in my head. So it's been a good thing to open that up. I think the next level is if you guys want to reach out and know more, tell us what you want to hear. I think we've got a big wide network. This last weekend I got to hang out with Luke Jensen and John Roddick and Ryan Harrison, who was in the box with Tom Thompson, or Tom, I call him. So you guys, if there's something you want to know more about, this is what we're trying to build here at Go Tennis, is trying to educate you, trying to get you more information and more stuff that you haven't heard before around the corner at your local tennis place.
Well, in 48 episodes of 10 minutes each, it's usually closer to 11 or 12 because it's hard to keep it to actual 10, is almost 500 minutes of tennis that we talk. And what you just said is, what I heard is, we're just getting started.
Yeah, it feels like we're just getting started. I mean, I keep saying it over and over again. This is the most complex sport in the world. I can sit here and argue about it to anybody in the world. And now with the Olympics running, I could easily sit down and still argue the point that this is one of the most complex, if not the complex sport of the world. And so there's an endless amount of things you can talk about, share tips. I mean, there are so many coaches out there with different ideas. Joffrey Porter, a guy that goes under the radar. He was the one that talks about non-dominant eye, dominant eye. Now everybody's talking about it, but he did it years ago. He raised Carlos Moya, he raised Rafael Nadal back when they were teenagers. So long time ago, that this kind of stuff just needs to be revealed and letting people know that there's so many more tricks out there that could help them. And I think also for the pros, I don't know. I think sometimes being an Australian versus an American, I think sometimes America, it can be over commercialized, so they want to hear certain things, and that's why I try to deliver something different all the time.
Yeah, Benjanese, all the bumper sticker phrases, I think is what we call them now.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to get shot for it, but the last time, if I ever hear someone say rack it back one more time, I'm going to shoot them,
Not really. We do that in the States.
Right.
Not really. It's a figure of speech.
Shouldn't have said that.
Figure of speech. But yeah, the concept of how many coaches there are out there,
right,
to be able to see a single thing,
right,
and all the sports have that.
Yeah.
And in this case, though, there's such complexity.
Yeah.
And each coach having their own point of view, but having their own single player sometimes to focus on and adjust. It's really cool to get the information out.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, okay, we've been doing this combined thousands of years now.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, hey, there's a lot of information here. If we can somehow get it out. When we first started this, you came to me about a friend, and you were a mentor type. He's in Europe now.
Yeah, he's in Switzerland.
Catch me up on that one, because he wants to write your book, and I've kind of beaten him to it here, where I'm saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to get this out of you 10 minutes at a time. So tell us about him.
Yeah, Taufan Bastian. He was from Indonesia. I sponsored him into the country. He was looking to get into tennis, and now he's already in Switzerland working into a major tennis academy over there, and he's always bugging me to give him more and more stuff. And I think there's just so many things that we can talk about. I'm still on the court a bunch, and a lot of people ask me every time, like, what is it that you're so different? And I said, well, I try to profile the player So I look at their first 10, 15 minutes and have a look at their attributes and look at the things that they can do, and then build off that so that they become who they are versus trying to become someone they're not. And that happens a lot, you know, as coaches
through the system, and they all become the same
caught
thing.
up with the same textbook and the same system, and every player is different. Every player brings something else to the table. So anyway, that's sort of, I think, some of the things we can start to look forward to as we continue to grow this, is to start looking at tools that will help coaches even expand their services, you know, and make them a little more unique than the average Joe, you know, because I do hear a lot of clients in Puerto Rico that say, well, this coach says this coach says this, but you seem to just make it all work, and in an hour I feel like I'm walking off progressing, you know, and that really should be the key. You know, every coach should feel like after the hour, like that player has moved on and progressed something, and they're going to go to the court, try to practice it, and then come back and you reevaluate and grow again, you know. And so anyway, that's what I think this has been very good about, is being able to try to pass down information, help other coaches, help amateurs learn a bit of what the pros are doing, you know. There's so much in the science out there. We still haven't talked about breathing and grunting. That's a big one that...
Not in a while.
Yeah, that's another one that people just don't understand the science part about it.
Yeah.
They don't understand the science part that they've learned how to work their heart rate. You know, and we haven't talked about that either. The heart rate really does monitor, you know, your adrenaline and your chemistries that's going on inside your body that you just aren't aware of that. We haven't talked about internal, external thinking much, you know, to make people understand, you know.
Definitely not enough.
Right.
And I think that's where we realize we can keep going, because we spend, you know, 9 minutes on a topic, because you got an intro and an outro in each episode, but you spend 8 or 9 minutes on a topic, you really can't go that deep.
Right.
And yeah, so we had an internal versus external conversation, but how much more is there to talk about? One of the things I want to compliment you on is what I try to do in my own coaching is focusing on the specific player, but also not being competitive as a coach with my ideas. Because a lot of coaches say, well, no, this is the way it has to be done. And I think that's limiting.
Right.
And one of the things I like about what we're doing here is, yes, it's player focused, but we're also not trying to replace your coach.
Right.
We're not trying to be that coach. It isn't come back to our YouTube and only learn from us. We're giving you something that you can go to your coach with. Forgive the sentence ending in preposition. But to go to your coach, but also then, hey, coaches, consider this. Think about this. We're not necessarily trying to now coach the coaches,
100%.
but there's a lot in there that's for players and coaches.
Yeah, and we want to hear coaches' stories. I mean, you keep saying that we want to hear your stories. We want to hear your stories.
That's more for the players, typically.
We'd like to hear the coaches' stories.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot there.
If you got something from our podcast and you go, hey, I expanded on that or I elaborated on that, then let us hear it, because that's how I learned more. I mean, I've just been very fortunate. Being at Tennis Australia and being a talent development coach for many, many years, they gave me the free floor to the coaching world-class conference every year. So, you know, meeting Uncle Tony and Patrick Maritoglu and all these amazing people. They've just been fortunate. I've learned from every single thing that I've seen. You know, just even the physiology part, the biomechanics part, the science part. And you know, again, I'm not a college graduate style person. So I've learned practically from all of them. And then you obviously dig deep and you start learning how to use it yourself. And then that's why you start to broaden yourself, you know, tools and so forth. So I think we're just hitting the surface with what we're doing. You know?
Okay, so what's our target? We're talking 100 episodes of 10 minutes of tennis. We're already halfway there.
Let's get to 500.
500 episodes, you think we're done?
We could probably do it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 minutes, right?
It can't be that hard to put aside 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And learn some tennis.
Yeah, I'm staying in Atlanta. Just drove an hour and 10 minutes to come for 10 minutes. So
this is true.
Surely it's worth it.
I hope so.
Right? So, and then, you know, even just points like I was reaching out to Craig Morris, who's the head of culture USDA, and talking about how I'm sharing with him that I think we should be utilizing the pickleball flow right now to introduce the pickleball as the introduction of tennis, and that when a kid graduates off a pickleball court, like have some kind of graduation that the USTA passes over a racket and a ball.
Yeah.
And
well, PTR has a thing where they do pick 10,
yeah,
and they actually use the pickleball court to train adults with junior size rackets, make it easier, because the learning curve is difficult. The reason pickleball is popular is it's a little easier, a lot easier, to figure out quickly than tennis. Tennis, it takes years to be competent.
Yeah, yeah, but there's as much as I'm not the biggest pickleball fan, there are things with racket head acceleration that what
so much
pickleball relies
Yeah.
on racket head acceleration. It learns touch. It learns. There's a lot of different factors. Even just with the bat being smaller, you have to learn the sweet spot. So there's some very good factors. Hitting the ball in front and hitting the ball late. Defense. In pickleball, you can learn a lot of defense from your hands. So I think there's a lot of factors that, as kids, if we utilize pickleball with its flow right now, we could be making way more tennis players. So if we look at it as hand in hand, help each other, I think we could really utilize it now. So we haven't talked about that either, but
we'll add that to the ever-growing list.
We just introduced it to the list.
Exactly.
We want to hear from you guys. Come on, share with us. Let us know what you want to learn more about. Why you double fault, what you should be thinking on the court, how to improve your footwork. There's so many different things you can continue to keep elaborating and keep expanding on for you. So
there we go.
That's what 10 Minute of Tennis is.
I appreciate it. Justin Yo, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's good to see you in person.
Yeah, it's good to be in Atlanta.
We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.